YouTube channel.
Oh, I got to get mine up so I can see what's going on. Oh, I won't have the bingo board. Okay. I'm used to having the bingo board up and blocking my comments, so I can't see what's going on. Hello. Here we are. I think we're probably up and live by now. It takes a minute for everything to come through. Let's see what it looks like to the public.
I see Green Stick Cottage. Hello, friends.
We are here. We are here. Hello. Hi, Green Stick. Hi, Karen. Whoops. Thank you. I see Yarning4aSmile. Ta-da-da. Hello. All right.
How are you all?
Good. Hi. I know it takes a second for you guys to get through the commercials when we get started.
Good morning, Patty. So I have to show y'all something. I came dressed. You can't see it, but I have on alpaca leggings.
Oh my gosh, those are wait. This deserves its own screen. Hello. All right. Oh my gosh. Those are so cute. Those are so cute. Those are precious. Whoops. I don't know. I don't like that either.
Always wear some kind of knitting theme leggings when I do lives.
Those are
I don't know why. No one sees them, but I'm like, hey, I have to wear them because they get me in the spirit.
They get you going. Yep. That is wonderful. Absolutely adorable. Where do you find something like that?
RwR. I actually have a local person, and she just always gets these things, and she knows to like send them and set them aside for me.
Mm-hmm.
I love them. But occasionally the Walmart has knitting ones too, so you can.
That's funny. Those. I just don't think I could pull off the whole legging thing. I
only wear them at home because I'm a homeschool mom.
Those days are gone, I believe.
Yeah, but as a homeschool mom, like this is like my attire. Like I crave to get into clean leggings and t-shirts and long sweatshirts and sweaters. So that's what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And it used to be no big deal. Sweats and a sweatshirt and my day is done. And even now, and I don't know when I got frumpy. I am officially frumpy, and I won't go out in public in sweatpants anymore. And I used to. It didn't bother me in the least. I mean, who cares?
When I do my Monday grocery buying, I'm probably going to be in sweatpants.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to the store. I got to put some jeans on, and I'm like, when did I turn into that old lady? But I have turned into that old lady. And I think it's because I'll tell you what I think what the deal is. I don't want to be that lady at the Walmart in my pajamas and slippers. And I'm afraid if I start with the sweatpants, it's a slippery slope.
It's a slippery slope. I understand.
I'm afraid that's what it is. You start out with pretty soon I'm out there, and I've had, whoops, all of a sudden it got dark. I'm afraid and I have done the 3 o'clock in the morning run for some medicine without the bra. I've done it. And I'm afraid if I start with the sweatpants, it's a slippery slope to the pajamas and the slippers. So I got to be careful.
Yes, homeschool mom uniform. I agree. Green stick.
When it was Christmas time and I had to go. Oh, it wasn't even anything fun. I was standing and it was Target. It wasn't even Walmart. It was Target, which, look,
it's high class.
Yeah, high class. And so there was a lady there in her pajamas, but they were cute Christmas pajamas. And her little girl, who was probably 5-ish, they were in their matching cute Christmas pajamas. So I'm like, okay, I gave them a pass. For that one.
I'll never forget. So when we first started homeschooling, we had to go somewhere real fast. And my youngest son wore some pajamas out. And we were like, you should change clothes. He's like, no, I'm wearing my pajama pants. We went in I think it was Target, actually. And this little girl was in her buggy with her mom. And she was like, Mommy, why is he in his pajamas? And my son has never wore pajamas out of the house again since that day. So it was just like, it was so funny. It embarrassed him. But I was like, But he's the kid that used to run around Walmart like in superhero costumes, like in
Mhm.
June. So he's always went to his own little drum.
And that's good. I mean, it's different when you're 4, 5, 6, and when you're 27. You know, or in my case, 57, 67. You know, I don't know. I just think there's a little bit of a line. So, and you know, it's cute when you're 4 little high school girls doing it, and I don't know. I'm trying to adult, and sometimes it's really hard.
Sometimes it's really hard. Yes.
It's really hard. Yes. Homeschool mom uniform. That's perfect. I love it. So, good morning. Good morning, Kim. Thank you so very much for joining in. Oh, I love your little yarn. I didn't notice that till just now. You put the little yarn thing on your name.
Oh yeah, I was like, we'll try to figure out what you were looking at behind me.
What are you looking at, lady?
Yes, my little yarn Kim.
It is so cute.
The reason I did that is because I've had this same Zoom name for our StreamYard name for forever. And we've actually used StreamYard with our church. And I didn't realize I had it still set up as Yarning4aSmile. And I got called Yawning4aSmile so many times.
Whoa.
And I was like, I'll put the yarn there so people know I'm yarning and not yawning. So, which could also fit as a homeschool mom, but totally different.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep, you are exactly right. You're exactly right. And actually, the yawn fits for yarning as well. I don't know how many times I've been sitting here half asleep going, I'm just going to finish this one row. One more row. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, in the morning, you have to tear it out because you messed it up anyway. Right?
Oh, I actually woke up with knitting before. Like,
oh, yeah.
I fell asleep completely knitting and just be in the bed. I lost a cable needle for 6 months because of that. It had literally worked its way in our comforter. It was a signature stiletto tip. They're like one of the sharpest needles you can possibly get on the market. And it's only like this big. Oh. And it literally worked its way. We had this comforter that had these individual little puffy squares, and it worked its way in one of the squares. We even washed the thing like 2 or 3 times and never found it. And then when we were swapping out comforters one day, I saw a little bit of hole, and I'm like, well, that's weird. And then I felt, and there was my missing cable needle.
Oh, that's funny.
So I've given up hope for it.
Yeah, that is hilarious. I love it. Well, you know, my RV ate one of my furls crochet hooks, my favorite purple furls crochet hook. I know it did. You know how the couch will eat them, but usually eventually you find it. And I think what happened is it fell on the floor, rolled under the couch, and then the slide is open. So then I think it rolled into the area of the slide. Well, then when you open and close the slide, that's outside now. So I think that's what happened because I've searched everywhere for that thing and it's just gone. So then I had to replace it. And
yeah,
maybe
we are lucky we didn't get built. That's I lost another cable needle that way. I don't know where it is. I think it actually fell out of a knitting bag in the Smoky Mountains on a cabin, and I didn't realize it. And it went through the little holes of the deck. And and I was not going down after it because it was a cabin that we've seen bears at before. So I'm like, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah.
It'll be fine. So Miss Kim, oh, hello, Dana. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. Yes, lucky you didn't get impaled by that. Hi, good morning, Connie. Hi.
Hey, Connie.
Have you seen, speaking of gorgeous, have you seen the most beautiful shawl that Connie is just finishing up? Oh, it's so pretty.
I've seen pictures.
People like you guys. Oh, hi, Ellen. Sorry, I missed you. So Kim, how did you get started in YouTube? In the YouTube world?
I've actually been on the tube for 14 years.
Wow. I didn't even, okay, here I'm showing my naivety. I didn't even realize tube had been around that long.
I had a channel that I started when I first started really getting into crafts. And it was even before I started knitting and crocheting. And I did some Bible journaling on it. And I had some paper crafts on there. I was a huge scrapbooker for many, many years. And then I had some videos of my now 15-year-old, like learning to take his first steps. I mean, it was probably over 14 years old. But
wow.
first time I did a StreamYard live, it was hacked, and then YouTube deleted that channel. So this is my new channel and my new endeavor.
So I heard that they had deleted you. Are you at liberty to talk about what happened? Because
Yeah.
that's always our fear.
No, and I don't mind talking about it because I don't want other people to experience it. So when I did my first StreamYard, I did not know really how it worked because there's not a lot of information out there, and I hadn't ever really been on other lives with people yet. And I had started my StreamYard, and there was another channel who I'd seen on commenting on all my videos before, so I knew that they were an actual person. And they wanted to join me. So I was like, okay, we'll do this live. I'll set it up and you can join me. And I posted the link in the StreamYard chat. And I didn't know that you could actually go in and have it set so only subscribers can comment really on your live yet through the YouTube live settings. And this random person apparently came in and they copied the person I knew's little avatar photo and channel name and made a duplicate channel. So when I posted that, they clicked on that and then they were showing in the basement. But I didn't know to look for a live video of someone like waving their hands in the basement. All I saw was the avatar photo because I thought that's all that you had to see. So I clicked on that and this person posted 3 seconds of a pornography photo. And I immediately deleted it, booted them off the channel, banned them, and I apologized and I shut down my stream. I then put it into private mode. I contacted YouTube and I was contacting StreamYard, and I was actually going through StreamYard and telling them what happened, and they were looking at pulling up all the files. And then the next thing I know, YouTube sent me an email because I heard like a ding on my phone. And it says, we have taken down the video because of violation of terms and policy. And I'm like, okay, no, that's fine. I was going to, it was in private anyway, so nobody can see it. Then within, I'd say 10 hours, I got an email saying we've deleted your entire channel, all your content for repeated violations. So what this person done is went in and basically put that all my videos, or a majority of them, violated YouTube's terms and policies. And so they just did a massive shutdown because they already had that one video that they had proof of. They didn't even look into it. And with YouTube, it's all bots. So I did the appeal process for over a month and you can't get anybody. So all 14 years of content just went bye-bye.
Oh,
no way of getting it back.
God. No, I know. And that's not, I don't know if people are aware of that. And I think about that every time I delete a video that I have created and uploaded. And then I get rid of it because I can't store, I can't store all this stuff.
Right.
And there's no room to store all this stuff. And every time I delete it off my little phone, it's gone. And I just have to tell myself, okay, you no longer own this information. YouTube now owns this and they can delete it anytime they want. And I don't know if people realize this because you're not the first person I've talked to that has their channel just gone. Everything's just gone.
It used to be that they had these things called trusted advisors that basically scanned Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, and they would look for people complaining about situations like this. They would actually flag your account so an actual person would go in and correct the issue. However, that program was thrown away in 2019 because YouTube did not see it as a cost-effective program.
Yeah.
So now, once you get monetized, some channels, not all channels, are assigned a account representative. And if you have issues, you can go to your account representative and get them to take off things like demonetization off a video or any kind of like strike. But not every channel gets a representative. And it really varies. Like it doesn't even have like a quota. Like I've seen channels that have 3,000 subscribers on like a gaming channel not have one, and then I've seen a channel that literally just hit their milestone and become monetized and they'll get one. Like it's really weird how it's assigned, and it's really crazy. There's not a lot of transparency of how it actually works, which is kind of a bummer.
That is kind of weird. Yeah.
And they're constantly changing their rules and regulations
all the time.
And
all
there
the
was
time.
recently a huge change to how giveaways can be done. And I'm just going to say people need to take note because I
I
regularly.
appreciate that because I'll tell you what, Kim, we got on this real fast, didn't we? But this is such good information because Dana and I have had many conversations about giveaways, and you have to be so careful how you word things. And I put the rules on my giveaways in every single one of my videos that nobody ever looks at. I know this for a fact, and I absolutely want to have a conversation with you about new rules if that's a thing, because I do give, as you know, I do giveaways all the time, and I'm probably breaking a rule, and I don't want to do that because I put a lot of work into all this stuff.
So with YouTube, their terms and conditions, if you break a rule, they can issue a strike on your account. If you have 3 strikes in so much of a time period, no bueno, you're gone, you're done.
Right.
At any point, though, they don't even have to wait till they get to your 3 strikes. If they feel it is something that violates their terms on a certain level, they can delete it like that. And that's what happened to my channel. So going forward, because I've been researching this whole giveaway thing the last couple of weeks, I am completely doing giveaways differently. And I hate it, but I don't want to risk losing my channel again.
No.
It's too much of a risk. And it's just too much.
So can you give us an overview of what they've just changed?
Yeah, so basically, there's a whole section. If you just type in YouTube rules and giveaway rules, Rule 5, 6, and I think it's 7 are the 3 ones that are really kind of different. So you cannot word your giveaway in a way that it manipulates your subscriber count, your likes on your video, or any kind of metric like that. And I was like, well, that's kind of vague.
Well, so you can't say subscribe,
Exactly.
you have to be a subscriber in order. And that's what everybody says. Everybody says that.
Everybody says that. Everybody says you have to be a subscriber or you need
new
to subscribe.
subscriber giveaway, or when I hit 600 subscribers. Yeah. So in fact, even when I'm doing that, this is a 1,000 subscriber giveaway, which is what we do all the time.
It's a violation of their terms and conditions. And I even looked and it said if you use another party, like a Rafflecopter used to be really big on Facebook and YouTube, and there's another one. And I pulled up their things and I was looking into it, and they even say that they will no longer ask somebody to subscribe to a channel because it violates their terms and conditions with YouTube as well as yours. The only thing that you can do is ask them to visit a channel if you use one of those things. So if you have like a Facebook giveaway and you use a Rafflecopter and you put one of the things requirements, they have to go to YouTube, all they can do is like ask them to go to YouTube. You cannot ask them to subscribe. That's no longer a requirement because it violates. And I think the reason that came about is because YouTube is pretty good about privacy. So you can choose to have the people that your channels that you follow public, or you can choose to have them as private. And if you're a content creator and you're having these subscriber giveaways and you're saying you have to be a subscriber, and I've done it in the past too. I have too. But I think this rule changed in January. You cannot make them go in and make their subscribers public so you can check. Because you're invading their privacy.
Right.
And I actually am all for that. Now, in the past I was like, just send me a photo, let me know that you're a subscriber, but you can't do that. And I hate that, I've done that in the past. Like once I realized, I'm like, wow, that's pretty rude. I should never have done that. I really overstepped my grounds. But we see this a lot on channels, and it's a slippery slope, and it's a sketchy area that can actually cause someone to not only get demonetized, but to lose their entire channel in a blink of an eye.
Right. And, it's like I was talking to a very good friend of mine, and she might even be lurking on here right now. And she and I are very good friends on YouTube, very good YouTube friends. And we have had this conversation before. It's like, we are yarn friends. I don't want to know what your politics are. I don't want to know what your religious beliefs are. I do not want to know who you are subscribed to, because I don't want that to affect our yarn friendship. And so I don't want to know who you're subscribed to. unless you are a devil worshiper, okay, that's where I draw the line. But
gotta have some kind of lines.
You gotta have something, right? But other than that, if we're sacrificing goats in the backyard, maybe I don't want to be even yarny friends. But yeah, there's I want to talk about yarn, and I want to talk about crochet, and I want to talk about knitting, and I don't want to delve any deeper than that into your life.
Right.
And so I don't want to see who you are subscribed to if it's going to shade any of that other stuff. And so even because of that, I don't want to know who you're subscribed to. And for that very reason, I have in the past, because of that whole, and that's one of the reasons I quit entering contests, because I didn't want people. Not that I've got anything to hide. I don't. But
it's an invasion of privacy. I mean, it
is an
really
invasion of privacy. And I have even not subscribed to some channels because I didn't want it on that public thing. Mm-hmm. Maybe I don't want somebody to know that I'm a Ramsey follower. I don't want somebody to think I can't control my finances.
Right.
Even though it's the complete opposite of that. I've got full control of my finances because I'm a Ramsey follower, or whatever. But yeah, it's a complete invasion of privacy. However, now this is an opposite side of the fence on that thing. I do look at who other people follow, and I go, oh, there's another yarny person I've never heard of, and I'll go and follow them.
Yeah, that's why I have mine public, and but I understand why some people aren't content creators, and some people just want to have their videos and their content and then go about their day. And I support those people 100%. I support you. I am your supporter. Right. So, I mean, but I think it's something that a lot of people probably don't read into the terms and conditions. Being a small business owner, like terms and conditions and licenses and stuff we know how vital it is, because building this shed I have right now that I'm starting to do process on, even that, knowing what our codes are in Alabama, I mean, that stuff is vital. So I'm all like geeking out on all this like stupid stuff, but that's just me because I'm a weirdo, as my husband says.
But you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Cheryl. Some people hate him and would not be happy if I was following him. But you're absolutely right. That is another thing, because I am a small business owner, and I don't even put the name of my business on my car. Some people have those little sticker things.
Yeah, I don't either.
Because I'm like, if I was at Costco the other day, and I was in line at the store, and they called the next person in line, and I go up there, and somebody whispered on under their breath, "You weren't in line." And I'm like, I was in line. I was. But it's like, everybody's got an opinion and everybody's got something to say. So I don't even put the name of my company on my car in case somebody thinks I've turned in front of them, or I didn't use a signal or something like that. So I'm so careful about my presence and what people perceive. So I 100% get not requiring my subscriptions to be public. And okay, as an example, somebody's brother has a channel, and you're on here, and hey, my brother's got a channel, would everybody please go subscribe? So all of a sudden, oh sure, we go in there and we throw yarn in his channel because somebody's brother. Well, come to find out, somebody's brother's channel, he's a taxidermy, because we don't go look at those things. It's somebody's brother, so we throw yarn in their channel. It's a taxidermy channel. So when I actually go in there and look at a couple of his videos, I'm like, I don't really like this, and I don't really want to have this in my list of subscribed channels. And so I unsubscribed. But yeah, that's kind of ooky for some people.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. And it is what it is. But
and if you live in backwoods Alabama, that's just the way it is. And everybody, yeah, I know. I did that on purpose. But and you know, they grew up hunting and Mr. and the family. And I'll tell you what, if they weren't hunting, they weren't eating. And I understand, and I appreciate that. And I get that.
But a
I'm a
lot of
city girl.
people, there's vegans and stuff, and they don't want to see
Right.
that. And that's
Right.
understandable. Like,
And that's understandable.
and the
Mm.
important thing to learn about YouTube and even Ravelry, since we're supposed to be talking about Ravelry, is that it is their domain and we are just guests in their house. So even though we may not agree with some of their policies and procedures, as guests in their house, you don't have to stay. You
Right.
can choose to leave. But if you're in their house, you have to play by their rules. And I think a lot of times we forget that. We're like, oh, well, I've been on this platform for so many years, or I do this and I do that. It doesn't matter. They are their own house and you are just a visitor.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of other visitors trying to get in the door. So they're not afraid to boot you.
There's a
and
lot of
find
other
money
places
elsewhere.
to go. And that's one of the reasons I have a real hard time with Etsy. And it's got nothing to do with anything other than I find as a user that most of the time I'm buying things with my cell phone.
Right.
I find it extremely difficult to access the product that I have purchased with my cell phone. And to me, that is incredibly annoying. So I go out of my way to never buy anything from Etsy unless it's a physical product that's going to show up on my doorstep.
Right. Their
And
download system is very tricky on mobile
that is
devices.
a personal preference. I'm going to Ravelry. If it's available in both places, I am going to Ravelry.
I'm that way also. I'm hands down. I'm buying off Ravelry.
And I will contact the seller and say, hey, is there a way to get this other than Etsy? Because I hate Etsy. It's so difficult for me. And not only that, on Etsy, if you change your email address, you can't combine them. There is no way. So if you no longer have access to an old email address, you no longer have access to anything you've purchased with that email address.
Which is crazy. But
it's crazy. It is crazy. It's ridiculous. In this day and age, that is insane.
But they're such the epitome of a selling platform that they can make those rules. And again, there's people lined up ready to sell and take their money. So
I know.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But as far as Ravelry, Ravelry has, their own little guidelines to be on Ravelry, to leave comments in the threads. And, that's something that I always say, you should always really look into things before you sign up, because you're going to be held responsible for your actions. And you need to know what those are going to have to be.
I do really appreciate, and this may be the case in Ravelry because I've never done it in Ravelry. I have often in Etsy been able to contact the creator, for lack of a better word, the seller. When I've had questions about something, I've been able to contact them before I've purchased something in Etsy. And I don't know if that's a thing in Ravelry. Usually if I'm in Ravelry, I buy it. I'm happy, I'm excited, and I buy it. But in Etsy, I've been able to go in and ask them questions.
I do like Etsy's messaging for that reason better, as far as contacting, especially about patterns. And Ravelry, you can still message someone, but often on somebody's Ravelry landing page, they'll have the best way to contact them if they're a designer. Most of the time, a lot of your big designers only use email because they have it set up so any kind of question email goes into one thing. And some of them not even look at Ravelry messages. Just like some people, big designers, may have Instagram, and they'll tell you, don't send me an Instagram message because I'm never going to look at it. And so if you do, it's just going to sit there.
Okay.
But it really it varies by the actual individual designers and yarn companies, really.
Interesting. Yeah, because I've been I've had varying degrees of luck contacting people in different ways, but typically, of course, and I'm not contacting big people. I'm contacting typically smaller people, and I do find that it's been pretty easy.
Right.
through Etsy to get a hold of someone. So, okay. So now that we've gone through that, I appreciate you telling me that, because I do have a couple of techie questions to ask you afterwards. Don't let me forget. And I have a close time frame, so I might have to contact you later. And I'm going to
That's fine.
write these down because I need to know. I used to know how to do that subscriber thing, and I don't think it does it anymore, and I need to know how to do it again. Subscribe.
Green Stick Cottage. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, that was a big debacle. I still put my projects on there. I'm not as active in some of the threads anymore, but I do have some threads that I kind of, if there's like a make along, I'm going to be kind of active in those. But it's, it's just one of those things. Goes back to one of the things. We have to obey rules, or, either way. Not to get in the whole debacle, but yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Well, and I did not get active in the crochet stuff until all of that had happened. I have an inkling of what happened. I'm not fully aware. I don't want to know.
Yeah, I don't even really know what happened either.
I love to look at yarn. I love to look at pictures of projects, and I like to have all of my patterns in one place. So,
and I like the ability, like if I have a pattern and I see that someone did a modification on it and they posted that on their page, I can message them and be like, hey, I think you did amazing a job on this. I'm going to kind of use some of this in my own design part of it.
Right.
Thanks for sharing that. I think that allows our Yarniverse sphere to grow and reach more people.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And then when I found out that you can, although I know this is never going to happen, I know better. I know myself. I know better. But when I found out you could keep track of your own stash in there.
All of this.
No. Really?
Every yarn, every book, every magazine, every loose pattern, every downloaded pattern, I keep it in Ravelry's database. So I can actually look for a pattern, do the advanced search, never leave my chair, and know exactly what yarn I'm going to use, and then just come in here and pull it out of the bookcases and then use it. It's magical. The only yarn I haven't put in is I have some Hobie yarn that I recently got that I've already photographed. I just haven't typed it in. And then I have some yarn over here I have to put in that I got around Christmas time. But everything else is in there. And I'm someone that actually measures and weighs my yarn before I put it in, so I know exactly how much yardage I have, even down to little half skeins.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Will you say something important and interesting to these people? I just got a work email that I need to respond to real quick.
Hello. Here is a Kim moment. No. So speaking of Ravelry, you can actually really go into how you store your stuff. So if you put all your yarns in Ravelry and you don't do like a bookcase, say you do a bin storage method system, you can actually put on your bins like a letter or a number, and then as you put your yarn into Ravelry, there's a place that says stored in, so you can write bin A or bin number 1. So then as you go through, you don't have to move all your bins around to find that yarn if you need it. I keep all my yarns sorted by kind of dyers. All these bookcases are my hand dyeds. Currently, all my acrylics are in bins in my closet until I get out in the yarn barn. And I keep them all kind of by dyers and then by weight. So I kind of know where all my yarns are. Also, with your yarns, if you already have bought a yarn and you're putting it in and you have a project in mind, you can put that in the notes section. You can use tags, so you can go into your Ravelry stash and search by a certain tag. So if you purchase from Eat Sleep Knit out of Dallas, Georgia, and you do their year-long make-alongs, when you put your yarn in your system, you can type in like ESK. And then to do their make-alongs, you have to use yarn bought from their store. So you can just kind of type ESK in all your stash, and every yarn that you've ever bought from them will pop up and you know what to use. There's just all kind of things. And Robin is back.
Sorry. Yeah, a lot of work at the beginning, Debbie, and that's why I know I'm pretty sure it's never going to happen. You know what I would like to have happen? And it's because this is what's on my mind right now is my kits. I have, let's say, a plethora of kits. And I think that would be a good starting point for me.
Well, I mean, you don't have to like. I'm all about. Okay, I'm very organized. Debbie is right.
Mm-hmm.
I am very, very OCD, and I've always been that way. And I've always been someone, though, you don't have to start off that way. You don't have to try to commit to putting every yarn you own in Ravelry or every kit you own. Get a bin once a week or once every 2 weeks. Commit to doing 5 kits or 5 yarns.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, by the end of the year, that's a lot that you've done.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next year, it won't be as much. And then you can have a little bit more easier time. And you feel so good knowing that you're organized and where everything is, except for when I lost the cable needle. But, but and you just start yourself small and start small, bite-sized those little petite squares of joy of your getting your stuff done, and then move on to bigger things, and then it's not so daunting.
Right. Well, and I was kind of sort of thinking as stuff came in the front door,
Mm-hmm.
as it comes in the door, so all the new stuff, and now everything is kind of sort of separated into, I've got the stuff that's in the shed and it's in bins, and well over 2/3 of it, maybe even 3/4 of it, is inventoried. I've pulled the bin. I know what's in there. I've written it on a paper on the outside of it, and it's put away, separated up, So I mostly know what's out there. And it kind of came down to, I ain't moving 15 boxes to get to that one box on the bottom. It's just going to be a surprise. Thank you, Debbie. I know I've asked her before, and I'm so bad with names. And then I've got the stuff that's in my bedroom, which kind of looks like what's behind you. And it is separated on a grouping of shelves by weight, the 3, 4, 5 weight. And then the hidden stuff that's in Morgan's room, Miss Morgan, when she moved in, poor thing, I kind of was a little sneaky. When she moved in, I said, blah, 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 blah. This is your area, but there will be some yarn stored in there when you move in. Some. The entire closet and this whole see all this beautiful row of storage here. That's all my yarn. Don't touch it. So I try every time. Anytime I clear up some space in here, I pull something out of her room to clear up space in there. So some, and I have no clue what's in there because it's been in there the entire time we were gone. So I'm completely clueless. But
I do a bag method. So like I actually have a bag. I can't get to it right now, but it's just like a canvas bag. And as I get yarn, I'll put it in the bag if I can't get to it immediately to put in the system. And then once that bag's full, I know, okay, I can't put any more yarn in the bag. I got to sit down and enter. And I'll sit down and enter, and I'll just take photos on my phone. I'm not looking for my phone, and that's currently my camera right now. So
I know.
like, where's my phone? But and so I'll put those photos on there, and then in my downtime, which is typically standing in line at Walmart to buy groceries, is when I'll pull up Ravelry and I'll attach those photos to the project. So I'm using my time wisely and I'm not wasting that time, because sometimes that time could be 15 minutes, depending on how many cashiers are at work that day.
Right.
So I'm all about using your time wisely.
You're right, Debbie. It is the hardest part is just getting started and not really knowing how to get started. Okay, we need to talk to you. So, Kim, tell us about. Okay, what do I usually ask now? What different things do? You knit? You're an amazing knitter.
Crochet, I spin, I sew, I do paper things. I'm a planner freak. Love planners. I do scrapbooking, journaling, DIY. I have power tools. Yeah. You name it. I do it.
Homeschool.
Homeschool.
You
I
have to
like
be
to cook.
organized to
I
do
like
that.
the garden. I have over 68 indoor plants, not to mention all the plants outside. I have my own garden. I can vegetables.
I love
Yeah,
canned.
I'm just
Maybe
a
you know why my jelly didn't set up this year.
I do everything. I've made jelly a few times. We have a plethora of blackberries and blueberries on our property that just grow wild.
Mm-hmm.
And so occasionally, and muscadines. And I'll make jelly, especially out of the blackberries, like jam. Oh, so good. So good.
Mm-hmm. I think I know what it was. I think it was a very, very hot, humid day. And I had forgotten because I don't do it all the time anymore, like when we were growing up. And I remember my grandma saying, it's too hot to can today. We can't do it. And I thought she just meant it was too hot to can, but she really meant, no, it's not going to work.
Like baking,
And
you can't make divinity on really humid days
right,
because it won't
right.
set properly.
No, you end up with gooey glue. We actually
Mhm.
made a song out of it because we tried to make divinity when it was too humid.
Love divinity. My mom makes the best divinity, but she always used
Mhm.
to complain. She's like, I can't make it today. I'm like, well, I'm sorry. You're going to have to make it because I need it in my life at
Yeah,
Christmas.
no,
Need it.
you eat it with a spoon if it's too humid. And so yeah, but gosh. So now did I just make this up? You have chickens?
No, I wish I had chickens, but I don't have chickens.
Okay,
We
so
we have a
you're
lot
a
of
future.
land. I have turkey. I have wild turkey. We don't eat
Oh,
them, but we have like last I counted yesterday, I saw like I think 28 on the property running around in two different huddles. So they're just everywhere, everywhere.
I don't know how the wild turkeys may not like domesticated chickens.
Well, the thing about chickens with us is we have a lot of coyotes because our property backs
Oh.
up to government-owned land that's just like kind of like a reserve that they don't
Mhm.
ever use. And we have a lot of snakes. We have two ponds. So, yes, we have lots of snakes. I actually did a walk through the woods in the winter time back in December, and it was only like 40 degrees outside, and there was a huge snake just basking in the sun. Like they're out all year long here. And we have a lot of timber rattlers and other kind of rattlesnakes. We have a lot of cottonmouths on our property. So snakes just kind of would come closer if we had chickens because they'll be after the eggs, and that's not good.
Yeah.
We've lost my mother-in-law's lost dogs to rattlesnake bites. So
Oh.
they're
Nope.
bad.
Nope.
But I love it here. I love going out walking in the woods.
Yeah.
I said, like, we have a lot of snakes, they'll kill you, but I love going out there with them. Yeah, but I really do.
Mm. Yeah, there's a lot of things you've just said that no. Okay. Moving on. What is your favorite thing to crochet?
Emma McGorry.
Oh,
Lots of stuffies. If I'm crocheting, I'm actually making currently a little onion boy right now. So there's his head.
oh my gosh, he's so cute.
And this is a Toft Designs out of the UK, and this is what he's gonna look like.
Oh, he's
Garlic, not onion. It'd be garlic,
adorable.
or he's a mini bulb. But this is his little head, and then I'll be doing his stem and roots later.
He is adorable. Isn't it funny how an eye brings him alive?
Yeah, they had sewn on eyes, but he's not going to be for kids because I'm a stickler that children 3 and under should not have safety eyes. I've had that on a few videos. He's going to be
and actually,
mine.
I do want you to talk about that. And not only the safety eyes, talk about the safety eyes. Tell people why not to have safety eyes.
Because these things, like even now, I can go in and pop this thing off, even though it's secured.
Mm-hmm.
It's plastic.
Mm-hmm.
It can be bent and it can weaken. So I've seen a lot of people who try to light the back of it to melt it so it goes over that little thing. Well, when you're melting plastic, it's weakening the chemical fibers which are put together to hold it. It's a chemical process that makes plastic, and it's a chemical process that melts plastic. So when you melt it, you're affecting all the plastic. So that back shaft that pokes in the little eyeball, it can just unpop. I've actually sat with my son's class when they were in public school, and there was an older kid chewing on an eyeball, and that whole stud part went flying around it, and the other part was stuck in his mouth, and it had actually, his mom or grandmom had put felt between them so it wouldn't come through the crochet fabric. It just popped off.
Popped right off.
Popped right off. But I've had safety eyes that have the metal backings. I've had them that had the plastic backings. I can put them on. If I don't like it, I just get a pair of pliers. It just takes a couple of wiggles and they're going to pop off.
Okay. Now I want to say, I want to say one more thing, an additional thing. I had, and this was from Queen's Crafts. She is very anti-safety eyes as well. And she brought another point up to me. Little kids are going to chew on those things. They are going to chew on them, which also means the yarn itself is going to weaken and stretch and allow that safety eye to pop out. And as soon as she said that, I'm like, oh my gosh, you are 1000% right. So
and
also,
it's not just kids, pets. If you make things for your pets that have eyes, it's a huge risk.
Right. And so for that same reason, don't sew buttons on them. Don't sew buttons on them. So you got to use thread, people. You got to use thread. And I know it doesn't look as good. I know, I'm right there with you.
No. It can. You can make your eyes look
mine
good.
do not look as good.
You can use thread, but you can also like needle felt it in there, so it actually becomes part of the fibers. And you can actually crochet separate eyes and then sew them on, so you can put different colors in. Like I don't know where my one is right now. I thought I had someone close by. Maybe not. They may be way over there. But I'd actually used some black and just kind of went like around the crochet stitches to kind of put color in the eye. And it looks really, really good.
Oh, Cheryl, that's interesting. This is really interesting. So the crochet the charity she works for, you cannot have buttons or safety eyes. That is really interesting. And of course, I didn't learn any of this until after I bought a great big box of safety eyes. Now, having said that, the one and only amigurumi I'm working on, she's not in here, is she? Is for an adult that I'm not going to even say, because she does pop into my things once in a while. And it's been 2 years in the making. So yeah, there's this much chance that it's actually gonna get done.
Yeah,
but we're just talking about that divergent. When you burn the back, it weakens the plastic, and it will.
That's actually what this lady had done for the one that I saw pop off, and it weakens the plastic. It's a chemical process when you burn it, and it can actually affect the part where it connects the back of the, like, here's your eyeball and here's the stud that sticks out. When you burn it, it kind of still, that process goes all the way down, and it still can weaken, and hers popped right off.
And that makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah. So the small, I can see that. I can see that, Pamela, that would be the small hook. And
that's why I always go with bigger. Like I'm using a furls for this guy. This is actually a C, but oftentimes, and this is DK weight yarn. So if I use a fingering weight, I'll use like a B hook or an A, like the actual stainless steel, like bead looking hooks. And I always get the furls, or I'll get a Clover RwR because they have a little bit bigger hand rest, and it kind of helps. But also, your hand, you constantly see me do this in videos, and that's because I'm always moving my hands and exercising my hands,
stretching them,
so you don't get cramps and develop things. Also, I have metal plates in both of my arms, so you can see my scar really well there. And this one is here, but I only have one plate in each arm and one bone in each arm. So it's very important to not allow arthritis or those kind of pains to set up. So just constantly moving your arm. The minimum, this is a 3.25 in furls for a C hook, I think. But in other C hooks, I think it's a 3 millimeter, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow. Yeah, because I know you do have to use a lot smaller. I'm just wondering. I'm wondering if I have a hook in there with my. I have a tendency to leave the hook with the project because. And then I never have the hook size that I need for the next project. But I just ran into the amigurumi when I was cleaning under my desk the other day. I brought it in the house and put it there. So when I saw your whip video. And I had done my whip video, and then when I was cleaning under my desk the other day, I found another whip. I found that amigurumi. I'm like, I
think I'll end up with like 18 whips or 19 whips. It was a lot.
Yeah, that was just about the same as mine. Mine was right close in there, but I ripped 3 of them out. So, and then I started a new project.
Y'all may hear my cat snoring because I can hear him, so I apologize.
We love that. Oh no, we love the animals. The snoring animals are awesome. Awesome. We love the snoring animals. Okay, so you like to crochet amigurumi, and then what's your favorite thing to knit?
Shawls. I'm a shawl knitter. I think I've
Really?
knit over like 50 something shawls. And
And then
I typically only use fingering weight yarn.
what do we do with that many shawls?
I wear them
Do
constantly.
you?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Fingering weight
It
shawls.
never really gets cold here in Alabama, so like a
Mhm.
t-shirt in the fall,
Yeah,
like
so you
a
need a
thin sweater and a
lightweight.
shawl, and I'm
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. What did I hear you say? I've watched so many whip videos recently, so I'm getting things confused in my head. Did I hear you say you're working on a Stephen West
I do have a
shawl?
Stephen West.
Yeah, it
I'm
was you
working on his fall last year mystery knit
last year.
along, but I've already completed the one before that. I did mine as a tribute to De Mortes, the Festival of the Dead. I chose
Mhm.
colors from that as inspiration,
Oh,
and
that's
it
gonna be
is super
beautiful.
bright and fun, and
Mhm.
it's so happy, so happy.
Which would fit right in with Stephen West stuff. Okay, ask me how far I got on my Stephen West,
Which
my
one?
Stephen West
This one
fall
from
cowl from last year, from last
how far
fall.
are you?
I pulled my yarn and put it in a box.
So here's a funny story. I bought yarn for the hybrid knit along, and I haven't even wound it.
Mm.
I even bought the pattern.
No, it's not. Mine's not wound.
But I'm like,
I pulled the colors. So what stopped me was, of course, I'm a very, 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 very brand new knitter. And everybody kept saying, he's an amazing instructor. You'll have no problem keeping up with him. Well, I knew that wasn't the case.
so keeping up with him is he releases his mystery knit alongs like every week, and that is a lot. And
Mm-hmm.
I literally was recording a video this morning about a kit from Annie's and talking about Annie's kits. And it's easy when we have like knit alongs and mystery knit alongs like that to get intimidated by our projects.
Mm-hmm.
And then they put this emotion of failure if we can't keep up.
Keep
and
up. Yeah.
that is absurd. It is absolutely absurd. It should not, and it shouldn't be that way. And if you find
Right.
yourself, put it down, walk away, let the whole mystery knit along be over with, and then pick it up and do it at your own pace. Because even if you try to do that mentally, you're still going to find yourself looking at other people's progress, and you're still going to have those emotions. And so don't do that to yourself. That takes the joy away from it. Find your joy.
Find your joy. So, okay. I'm going to come back to that, but I'm doing a shameless plug now. Y'all know, because I every single time I'm on, I talk about my very first crochet along that I'm doing. In case you haven't heard, I'm doing my very first crochet along. I'm starting my very first crochet along. The information is going to drop next Thursday at, I think, 8:30 in the morning. It starts March 23rd, my birthday. It's my birthday present to me. But it's going to be following somebody else's, because I ain't designing anything. But even that, I have doubled the amount of time than what she originally did, because I can never keep up with these things. So you are getting mass amounts of time to do my crochet along from what it originally was. So because of that very, very thing, I don't want anybody to feel the pressure to keep up. And I'm able to keep up with my own crochet along. I'm doing the work behind the scenes now, even with the other millions of things I got going on. And of course, other things have fallen behind, but it's really easy to keep up with the schedule that I've built into this thing for that very reason. I did not want that pressure there. Okay, back to our conversation. The Mr. Crochet along that of Stephen West, his cow, not only is it's massively overwhelming.
It's a lot of yarn. So I think typically his shawls are around 2,000 yards, and
because it was 5 fingering weight skeins of yarn. That's a freaking lot of yarn.
So that's for the hybrid knit along. The one that came out in fall, the Mystery October, was 3 skeins, but I brought in a 4th color. No, that was the one from last year. The Twist and Turns. Twist and Turns had 3 skeins of color. So I chose a yellow, a red, and a blue.
Oh, maybe it was 3.
Because I like to be different, I brought in what he calls a backup dancer, which is either a 4th or 5th color. So I brought in a 4th color, and then the one before that, you had to have, I think, 4 or 5 colors, and I brought in 2 extra colors because I just can't follow directions. It's me.
Well, so not only was all that going on, that I barely knit, and of course this was last October, so I was even less of a knitter then than I am now. And all of the things. So all of the things. And it's Stephen West, for God's sakes. I was also not even going to be where there was internet. So I was trying to do this without internet. And I'm like, this is really not a good idea. So we're just going to set this aside.
And that's the best thing to do. And then come back to it. And if not, you don't want to do it.
Well, there's always this year, which also happens to be during a time frame when I'm not going to have internet.
Right.
So,
I do want to say something as far as another thing to point out about Amagori is even though what I may use this DK weight and I'm using a C on, all yarns are not the same. This is actually 100% wool. So it is a very, very thin and lofty, airy DK weight yarn, where something that's commercial, that's acrylic, is going to have a little bit more heft to it. And so you can go get by using a bigger hook, because even though it's still a wraps per inch, it's going to be a little bit more sturdy, so you can kind of pack in your stuffing and not have it pop out. If I was to use a bigger hook on this, just because it's more pliable, I guess is the word I'm looking for, then if I was to stuff it, then it could have like little whites poking through or the stuffing, and that would drive me crazy.
Hope you guys will join us at noon Central. That's 10 o'clock this morning for the Rad Girls Lunch Break Live. That is a 45-minute show where we just sit and crochet and visit with each other. I love the sitting and crocheting and talking part. So that's our commercial for that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, Debbie, I use acrylic yarn, I use wool yarn, I use cotton yarn. I use all the yarns for all the things, and they all work just as good. It's like a car. Some yarns may have more bells and whistles, but they're all going to get you to the same place, just like crochet hooks and needles.
You're right, Pamela. And that is the other reason with mine, I am doing it. And I even talk about that because you guys know I am a multi-project person. I always have 4, 5, 8, 10, 50 projects going at the same time. And there's no possible way I am setting everything aside to work on one project. And I wanted to make sure with my Cal that you would have the ability to do a week's worth of my project in one evening, maybe 2 evenings at the most.
You give buffer times. You give
because I get it. I can't work on one project. And it's like right now, okay, I'm working on, in theory, I'm working on 4 crochet alongs. Okay. So Sophie's Universe is on vacation right now. And then I'm supposed to be doing this silly mystery cow that is kicking my behind. And I am officially behind. I was doing good. I kept up for 3 weeks. I'm officially behind on it now. And of course, then this grandbaby is deciding that it's not waiting for me to get this blanket done. She's coming whether I'm ready for her or not. So I decided I better get that blanket started. So now something else is going to go by the wayside, and I'm afraid it's going to be Amber's project.
That's how we have 18 works in progress.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's how the hope happens, folks.
That is how we end up with 15 whips, because somebody gets pregnant, somebody gets married, and some mister walks out with a skein of yarn saying, would you make me some? And if somebody asks you to make something, you make it, because you're always trying to pawn off your makes on someone and nobody wants them anymore. So if somebody asks you for something, you make it. That's the law. That is the law of yarn.
Hey, Bridget.
Hey, Bridget, we were just talking about you. You were probably heard. Your ears are burning. So yeah, that's how I end up with 15 whips. All the time. So yeah, so I started a new blanket 2 nights ago. And I'm not sad at all. Yes, that is life, because life pops in. And
that's the glory. That's why I love fiber arts, because it is life. It's colorful like life, and it moves. And with us, like our seasons of life, we have seasons of projects, and it's okay, because that's what it's supposed to bring us, joy in our journey of life. And it can do that. We can have joy in one project and then we can put it down and find another project and have joy. And then we can come back and still get joy from that project.
Mm-hmm. And people will say, how can you work on more than one project? And I go, do you only watch one program on TV? No,
Right.
you watch 8, 10, 12 of them. And sometimes in this day and age, you can binge watch something for 8 or 10 or 12 hours. And then you're sad when it's done. But usually you're watching more than one television show, or you've got, several series that you watch. And it's the same thing with my crocheting. And my closest friends know this is how weird I am. You talk about your schedules. I have a schedule for my crocheting. On Sundays, I work on this. On Mondays, I work on this. On Tuesdays, I work on this. And now those do get rearranged. And sometimes if I end up with a deadline, like this baby deciding to come in April, whether I'm ready or not, I will push something aside that does not have a deadline, like Miss Sophie's Universe, and I will pop something in there. But I do that for a reason. Not only do I want to make sure that everything gets worked on, but I have Mondays, it has to be something easy that I don't have to concentrate on. And Sundays is typically a down day for me. And so I can work on my harder things on those days.
Sundays are always scrappy Sundays for me. Like, I post weekly on my community tab about scrappy Sundays, but that is a day that I devote to scrappy projects, because scrappy projects to me are the most soul nourishing projects that you can possibly do. I don't know if it's because you're using something and you're not creating waste, or if it's the fact that usually it's scrap, so it's all these different colors that you're getting to work with and more than one project. Or if it's just something reminiscent about grandparents, like my grandmother, who is a quilter, that brings me to my heart. So like, they are like Sundays and scrappy Sundays. That is just something that is forever, something that I observe every week, because it literally feeds my soul, and it gives me the energy to tackle whatever the week brings me.
I saw, I just lost it. Cheryl, yes, I like to have some boring, repetitive things, and I like to have some things that work my mind a little harder. And
repetitiveness can also be meditating. So I mean, you can use that to meditate and really work through emotions. That's like why I always have a garter stitch shawl on the needles, because I don't have to look at it. There's comfort in moving my hands that allows my brain to wonder and to process.
I look, and looking at your beautiful yarn wall, I see a lot of color. You're drawn to color, and I love all those purples you've got back there.
I love color, and I really want the yarn and color to be something in my space that I'm building. I'm even considering like painting all these bookcases like a white or a light gray when I get out there, and making them like a built-in with molding, so I can have all the color pop. But I like purple, but I like all colors, like even colors that probably should not be on my body, I still wear, because I think they're all amazing, and that they all have different meanings to me. I'm very someone who puts emotion in their yard and in their projects. And I use my projects to tie emotions in. And I talk about this a lot, which is, I know, kind of weird. I feel like a hippie sometimes. I think maybe I am in a past life. I don't know. But like, I just always, projects to me and emotions go hand in hand. And it's a way that I'm self-taught knitting and crochet. So it's helped me deal with things over the years. And the reason I got into it is because I'm a caretaker. And that's a whole nother story for another day. But it has helped me so much through that process that I cannot even begin to realize, even in myself, and that I may never realize, but it really has gotten me through a lot.
I'll tell a little story. I used to do everything. I'm one of those people. But do you guys know what a doula is? I used to be a doula, which is a childbirth assistant. And I worked with a midwife. The most amazing thing I've ever done in my life was when I got to be a doula. And I would always take a crochet project with me, because I mean, sometimes I was there for days, and I would take a crochet project with me. And my little mommies, and not only my mommies, but my daddies, always knew as long as I was sitting there crocheting, everything was fine.
And it
And
also affects the people around us. Like,
yes, because as long as, if I'm doing this and just checking on mom, how you doing? How you feeling? And I'm aware, I'm alert, I'm looking for all the symptoms. I mean, I'm aware of what's going on. But this was a calming process for everybody in the room. And they knew as long as Robin is sitting there crocheting, there's nothing to worry about.
mhm.
And so it's not only calming for you, it's calming for the people around you.
And I challenge people, like, so today is Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day.
Oh,
Today
and it's
is my
Mister's birthday.
happy birthday to your sister. Today is my anniversary of finding out I am a breast gene
Oh, that's
carrier.
right.
So I'm a big advocate for early detection and knitted knockers and all that good stuff. But every year around this week, I always have either a mammogram or MRI. And then I have one or the other every 6 months because I have to, because I'm such high risk. And I always take a project with me to sit in the office. Because if you know, when you go to your yearlies, usually your doctor is going to be having an emergency baby delivery and you're sitting there for several hours. Like, it never fails. So I always challenge people to take knitting or crochet with you to an appointment and sit there and work on it, and then look up and see how many people are on their phone, and then kind of look up and see how many people look at you and smile, because they'll sit there, they'll see you. They may be on their phone, but you're going to catch their eye. And you always get smiles when you're working on that project. And you just brought that person a smile. That is huge, because we don't know each other's walks. We don't know what people are going through in their home life. And that may be the only smile they have all day long. They may be walking back there to get devastating news. They can even be walking back there to having the most happiest moment of their life. But for that brief moment, you've made an impact that's going to affect whatever that outcome is going to be in some way, because they're going to know that they smiled for that moment. And that is so big to me. So big.
You mentioned the knitted knockers. Could you talk a little bit about what those are? Because I have heard that term, and I truly, really don't know what it is.
So knitted knockers are knitted or crocheted breast prosthetics that we can make to give to women who have breast cancer and have to have the removal surgery. They can be made any size. So in my family's case, there have been people who've had to have part of their breast removed. So we can make little half ones just to kind of accommodate, because they may have one normal size breast and one half breast, and that way they're both the same size. And being here in Alabama, they're so popular because it's so hot and humid. And those prosthetics that they wear are so heavy and sticky, and they're not very comfortable. So knitted knockers are huge because they're always made out of 100% cotton, so they can be washed in any kind of germs, disinfected, and it killed at high temps. But they're very lightweight. Now, our little group, we knit them for our local Still Magnolias group, which actually has a room in the RMC, the local hospital, and they provide wigs for people going through cancer, and they can go in there. We'll make any color knockers, because we have had some requests for some crazy color ones, because some people just like to have fun girls, I guess. So I've made stripe ones before. I've seen some that have like bright yellow neon colors that glow in the dark. I mean, like, you just gotta have fun. But we also put those little they're like the clear plastic beads that you can put in fake plants to keep the stems up. We often supply those because it adds a little bit of weight, because if not, sometimes they're so lightweight. People who recently have had their breasts removed, that's a big difference in weight, and it's really hard for them to grasp. And you get so used to feeling that weight on you, when it's not there, you're like, you feel very subconscious. And so that kind of helps kind of ease out of that subconsciously, and not feeling whole feeling, and just give some peace of mind. But I've made 13 pair, I think, over the past couple of years. We've had our local newspaper do articles, but it's worldwide. There's knittedknockers.com, or is it knittedknockers.org? Let me think. Is it knittedknockers.org? You can actually get the knitted or the crochet. It's knittedknockers.org.
Okay, knittedknockers.org. Okay.
You can get the knitted or the crocheted pattern for free. It even tells you how you can package it and put it in organza bags. There's a print off you can print off that you can put in there that tells the recipient what they are, how to care for them, all kind of stuff. But the best thing is they're adjustable. So you don't completely close them off. You leave them so they can be open and more stuffing can be put in or more stuffing can be taken out, however they want to do it. And it's great.
Wow. I am so glad. I'm going to cry. I'm so glad you brought that up, Kim, because I'll tell you what. I'm ashamed of myself. I have never heard of this before. I am 64 years old. I have worked in the medical field the majority of my life, and I have never heard of this before. I have seen people make something like that, and I always thought it was sort of a jokey kind of a thing that they made, and I always thought it was so silly that somebody would do that sort of thing. I never knew that this was a real, necessary, needed thing, and I am so very glad that you brought this up today. Oh my gosh. All right, Miss Dana, we've been looking for a project. We just found our project.
Yes, and men, it can affect men too. 1% of the men have breast cancer as well. And the knitted knockers, you can even, some people like to have nipples put on them because some people have.
When you talked about the bead, that's what I thought you were getting to.
And so, like, you can make them with that, or you can make them without. And then sometimes we'll get requests with them without, because some people like to have thicker bras. So it's amazing to me that something that people who are not affected by breast cancer take for granted, but once you're affected with breast cancer, then you realize how important it is. So when I was sitting there and I knit, and then somebody will talk to me and I'll start talking about breast cancer awareness and mammograms and stuff and early detection. And then they'll start telling me, oh, I have a pair of those. And I even had a lady once say, you want to fill my boob? You made these. One of y'all made these boobs for me. And it was just like the funniest moment. But like we made such an impact in that person's life. And like she literally lit up. And it was just, it's amazing to be a part of. It really is. And we have a lot of requests to them. And even if maybe someone who's watching this and then the replay and you have breast cancer and you have one of those man-made breasts that you have to wear, you can go on to knittedknockers.org and you can actually request a pair and they will be made for you in a size that you need for free. That is the best thing about this whole thing, is that it's all for free. We provide these for free. We've actually had Cascade Yarns provide the yarn for our group to make these, and so that we are able to supply them. And we've had the breast cancer Still Magnolias group help fund the yarn. So literally we just make them and they fund the yarn for this. And as many people that we have coming in there, they just keep sending this yarn to make them. And it's just amazing to be a part of that whole circle. The whole circle.
So I'm going to find the link and I'm going to put the link. It'll be on the bottom of every one of my things from now on. I can't always fit it in the bingo. The dang bingo is my description box is so full. I can't put anything else in there.
I just dropped the link in your private chat so you can have it. It's Knitted Knockers. And there's different variations. Like there's I think Knitted Knockers is the one that's been around the longest. But there's another kind that they started and also they have a slightly different pattern. But the Knitted Knockers is great because on their website, it not only has instructions for knit and crochet, but there's accompanying videos. And like for us knitters, there's videos on how to do them on DPNs, how to do them on Magic Loop, how to do them, I think, 2 at a time. Like they have videos to cover it all. And there's a lot of people out there that if you have questions, you can contact me or anybody else. Or if you're never had a mammogram and you're scared to have a mammogram.
I get the mammograms. I do that.
Contact me. I will walk you through your first mammogram.
And it's so much easier now than it used to be. I mean, and because the girls are significant, and they used to smash it down so, and it hurt so bad because I've got a lot of
Well, a funny story. My mammogram lady is so short; she has a step stool when I come, so she can get me in the machine. She has a full step stool she has to stand on.
Oh my God,
Bless her heart.
Okay, so Pamela's saying make sure you check with the company first for their specs so that you do them correctly. All right,
yes,
that makes sense.
Knitted Knockers only likes to use cotton. Pima, Ultra Pima cotton is what I like to use. The Cascade Ultra Pima. Lion Brand makes their cotton. I can't think of the name. I think I just saw someone talk about it. A Jet one mentioned Kaboku, which is I have that cotton. It's a really nice cotton as well. It's really soft, but there are certain cottons that they do look for. You also want to make sure that you send them properly. Sometimes they ask that you can stuff them, but if not, they have stuffing. I know even for our group, we stuff ours, but it's just it's a great thing.
All right. Excellent. Yeah, we do have breast cancer in our family, but not close to it's like some aunts and some cousins type thing. We've been very lucky on my end.
Well, I am a huge advocate for it because one of my favorite aunts, who I used to live kind of like next door to her growing up, I spent so many of my hours of a child at her house. She found out she had breast cancer in December, and she passed away before Mother's Day.
Oh.
And I have another aunt who's had to have both of her breasts removed, and I've lost 2 other aunts on my mom's side of the family like that to breast cancer. So I am a huge advocate. That's what I'm like always saying. If anybody has any fears, just contact me. Don't let your fear put your life in danger. 1 in 8 women, 1% of men, it's going to affect you one way or the other.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that. And so one of our viewers mentioned an uncle also. I didn't want to gloss over that. Just because you're male does not mean that this is something you don't have to worry about. It's a thing, people. It is a thing. So do you happen to know, if you're a man, how do you even see if you've got it?
Well, if it's in your history, your family history of women having breast cancer, I think the same gene shows up in men as colon cancer, possibly prostate cancer. I can't remember. My insurance company, because of my high risk factor, they actually covered the cost of the gene testing for me. A lot of times, if you can prove that you have it in your family, especially on your mom's side or your grandmother's side or your dad's side, women in general, you can get your insurance company to cover the gene testing. But even just doing self-exams is a great way to battle it and knowing your body, and then having mammograms done. But as a parent, I wanted to make sure, because I've had so much family history, that I do the gene testing, because I'm a mom of boys, and that gene does get passed down. So now I can stay on top of my children and my boys, because it does become, it's either colon, prostate, or both in them. And that's another, my father had prostate cancer. So that could be a big connection as far as family history.
Yeah.
Green Stick Pamela. So the first time I had my first MRI, breast MRI, they lay you on this table face down. And one of the bad storms came through Alabama, and the hospital lost power. And I was in a closed MRI and stuck in there. And they had to literally come and try to wedge me out of the MRI. So I was in the MRI for almost 2 hours. They were like, if we get you out, we're going to have to take all this time to get you back in. I'm like, nope, I'm just going to stand right here. Just give me some water. So they gave me water from a straw. But I was in this closed MRI for over 2 hours. But MRIs they're usually not that bad, but that was just, it was kind of a funny experience. I'm like, it would be my first one to be stuck in the MRI.
Yeah. So. We had a friend who was having, and she's, we've got the problem being on the bigger side. This friend of mine was in getting an MRI, and she is flat as a pancake. And so they're trying to gather up enough material to do one. And the doctor kept stepping on the pedal and getting tighter and tighter and tighter. And she was bruised from her shoulder to her waist. It was horrible. Yeah. And I say the same thing. There's a couple procedures that I've had terrible experiences with, and I swear I'll never do them again. But the reality is,
It's
it's
life-saving.
still not as bad as what you would go through if you end up with the cancer.
Right.
And I'm guilty of the same thoughts, and I'm guilty of the same words, but it's still not as bad as if you end up not catching it because of not doing a test. And you've already had the bad thing happen. So it won't happen again.
Vicki, there is a crochet pattern on the website that Robin linked above. It's knittingknockers.org, and you can go where it says on the top, there's like a tab that runs across, and it says how to, drop down, and it says how to make a knocker, how to provide one, and it shows all the downloads and all the patterns. There's also a pattern tab that goes over the knit and the crochet versions.
No, it won't work if they try to pull it apart. It's bad. You'd think they'd have an auto release, and I'll bet you they do now. I'll bet
the
you.
newer ones do. The hospital that I live again in Alabama, and it's kind of like sticks out here and pastures and cows. So it wasn't the highest technology, but they since then actually have upgraded their machinery, which is
I'll bet you they do now. Yeah, because the new machines now, they're just like zip zip and you're done.
Because I kid you not, the lady that was in there that day, she had been there for 11 years, and she's like, "This has never happened." And I'm like, "Well, today it's happening. Here we are."
Yep.
I am Kim.
And this is why, because I'm here. That's how that goes.
Yeah,
this
these
is
poor
how
random men had to come in, like the people, the anesthesiologists, and help her get me out. And I'm like, kind of naked, and I'm like, I don't even know these people, but I don't even care.
Yeah,
so past caring.
Yeah. Miss Kim, I have to get you to promise me that you will come back on because we have not Ravelry. Yeah, we have so much more to talk about, and we've only got a couple of minutes left. I have adored today. Do you have anything close by you can show us, one of your pretty makes?
I was knitting on a shawl during this.
Look at that. Oh my gosh, that's so pretty.
I have my onion guy I'm working on.
Yes.
Or my little bulb. And I just started my first Intarsia project last Thursday, and I'm already halfway done with it.
Wow, look, you got so much done since last time I saw it.
Yeah, so I'm really enjoying it. It's out of Noro, and it is.
Is the Noro just heaven to work with?
I like it. I like it better once it's washed because it's a lot softer.
Yeah. Look at that
It's
purple.
been a lot of fun. But that's this is my active whip basket that I usually keep 2 or 3 projects that follows me around the house and outside.
Oh, that's funny. You've got inside critters?
Me?
Yeah.
I have 4 cats, the Orky inside, and 6 hermit crabs.
Oh.
And we had a hamster, but he passed away, unfortunately. But we had him for several years.
Miss Morgan thinks she needs a new pet, and I keep telling her, hermit crabs, hermit crabs.
Hermit crabs live up to 35 to 40 years.
I know, but she's a kid. She's only 22.
But they will live longer if you have, like, my hermit crab enclosure is a 45-gallon tank with a 25-gallon tank on top of it with 13 inches of substrate, a saltwater pool, a freshwater pool, lots of climbing. And they have filtered water, and they get a mixture of fresh fruits and vegetables and raw meats and other stuff. But they actually have a pretty strict diet to have to. It's
okay. Probably we are not going to be that intense with the hermit crab.
Oh, and they have to have a constant temperature of 75 degrees and 75% humidity.
Oh, good Lord. We had some a friend of mine had some at work, and we had a little tank, and it wasn't nearly that intense.
It didn't live very long. 75% humidity because they breathe by gills. It actually slowly suffocates them. So that's why you only see them in the lower parts of Florida and other tropical climates, because they have to have at least 75% humidity constantly, or you're literally slowly suffocating them.
Oh, so that's what we did to the hermit crabs at work. Yeah, we suffocated them. Oopsie. Never mind.
They'll actually, you'll see them not moving, and they'll go lethargic, and they slowly die. But mine are out pretty much all day long, and they'll walk across the branches that I have. And
yeah, we just thought that they were sleeping.
Load up the truck. We're moving now.
Die, crab, die. Okay, maybe not the hermit crabs. A little more intense than I thought.
Hamsters are a good thing. Hamsters are fun, especially Syrians. The bigger ones are a little bit slower.
They stinky. The cats will get them.
Yeah, you have to use a lid on the cage.
Yeah.
There are some kind of lizards that you don't have to have a constant heat and temperature, like not a bearded dragon because they have to have certain requirements. But I forgot a crested dragon. I think it is a crested lizard. I'm an animal freak.
I don't know if I want lizards in my house.
I started off to college with veterinary medicine, so this is why I'm this way.
I don't know if I want lizards in my house. Those are too snakish. No, cute.
How about jumping spiders? Jumping spiders are great.
No. Forgot. We're changing the subject. Let's go back to yarn. Yarn. Yeah. I'm liking yarn.
Yarn is made by spiders. Yeah, some spiders can make like silk kind of stuff. So, it kind of works though. No. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Let's go back to chickens.
Yes, Sharon, I have 13 different type of clethias. Yeah, I have a lot of those. I love them. They're in my kitchen. But yes, they have very specific weather and ways to care for them.
Oh, no. It's a good thing we didn't discuss that, Miss Bridget. Ooh, I don't like the creepy crawly things. No. Cats, dogs. Maybe the occasional bird. Yes.
He's like, stop.
Ugh, ick. Next week, our special guest is, and I'm a terrible, horrible person because I cannot remember her name. You guys know me. You guys know me by now. This is not news. Good Lord, why is everybody on earth trying to call me? We have, look at that. Okay, so Miss Dana sending me pictures of something with crocheted eyes, and it's gorgeous. She always has to show me up, always. The Crafty Girl. She is what is the word? She goes to all the thrift. She's a thrifter. She goes to all the thrift stores and buys all the things and repurposes them she sews and she repurposes these things into amazing things, amazing clothes and just stuff. And it's so fun to watch her thrift and see the things that she brings home. What are you bringing? Get that out of here. Get that out of here. Get that. I am not joking with you. This is more. Get it. I don't care. Get it away from me.
What does he have?
Here now. Get it out of here. Get it out of here.
I don't know what's happening. Is it a lizard?
I don't know. It's some horrible bug thing.
Dying over here.
Morgan likes the bugs. Mr. likes the bugs. They love the bugs. They get the bugs. Too. They pin them down and then they like to show them to me. I do not want to see the bugs.
We have a collection of bugs too, but we're a homeschool family, so it works. We have we have some walking sticks, different kind of beetles.
I don't want to see the bugs. Yes, I'm protecting myself.
The pom-pom was her weapon of choice at the moment
that I could put between me and the bug. God. Well, and he knows I don't want to see these things, and that's why he brings them in. My heart's going a million miles an hour. I do not want to see these things. I do not enjoy this.
You would not like Alabama,
guys. This is my life.
Don't ever come to Alabama. You will be horrified.
I know. We lived in Texas. We've been to all those places. And I'm just like, he'll just come bebopping into the motorhome. And I'm like, I don't want to see it. Whatever it is, I don't want to see it. Get it out of my house. I know. Yeah, I'm protecting. This is going to protect me.
A foot-long millipede.
So the show, have you ever heard of Naked and Afraid, where they go out in the wilderness and they stay naked? They tried to film an episode here in Alabama, and because of the bugs, the people that did it, they couldn't even make it. They had to be like, they went home. They gave up because the bugs are so, I kid you not. And it was only like a couple hours from my house where that was being filmed because
they're so horrible.
I live close to the state park, which is the highest point of Alabama. And like, they couldn't cut it. And I'm like, dude, I live here. I'm better than those people.
What was that horrible millipede thing? Just right outside our door I know what a millipede is. This thing, it was this long. I was trapped in the motorhome. I couldn't go outside. I'm like, nope. I can't do it. I had to wake him up. I mean, he works the night shift when we were in Texas. He worked the night shift. I worked the day shift. I couldn't go outside. I couldn't leave. So I had to go wake him up to move the thing so I could go outside and work.
Tennessee has really big, pretty orange ones. They're like really, really cool.
Oh, these horrible bugs. They're awful. We don't have as many of the icky ones up here. We don't have as, or at least I don't see them. But oh Lord, don't bring those things in my house. Don't stand there and grin at me. Bring those horrible things in my house. Oh no, it's not happening. It is not happening.
It's already dead.
I don't care if it's already dead. I don't want it in my house. Yarn. I want to play with yarn, not dead things. All right, y'all. Thank you so very much for popping in. Go to the Knitter Knocker. I'm going to post it one more time. Go here.
It's over there somewhere. Wait, no, it's over there.
Where's this? What have I done?
It's over there.
Oh. There. Go do this. Everybody go do this. Go play with yarn and have fun. We'll see you guys in half an hour. Let me put this back up.
I got to go grade school.
I cannot believe you brought that thing in here. Just because it's your birthday, you don't get away with stuff like that.
And it's Valentine's Day.
And
so you guys show love, even to bugs.
Yeah. No. Bugs get no love at my house. No, no, no. Please stay on for a second.
Okay.
We'll talk to you guys in a few minutes.
Bye.
Bye.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Go show yarn love.
Go be nice to a bug.